Hey everybody, it's Amy Rodquist Cadet, health coach and wellness specialist with UK Health and Wellness. I'm really glad you're here. I'd love to talk a little bit today about values. Kind of number one, figuring out what they are, and number two, how can we live into them so that they're louder and more expressed in our lives. I I know that there are all these little micro choices throughout our day, ways that we can show up and live our values more. How do we want to um, come to a Zoom meeting with more intention and really fully embodying our values? How do we want to care for our kids that we're needing to homeschool, that aren't going back to daycare or school anytime soon? How do we want to show up for our roommates, for our families, for people we're in community with, right? So here is a worksheet that I'm going to share with you, something that I created a while back for some of my health coaching clients that I think might be really helpful as we start to think about values. All right, let me share my screen with you. So take out a piece of paper. Otherwise, this worksheet will be available for download as well. But if you don't have access to the worksheet right now, that is A-okay. Number one, figure out what drives you nuts. Now, I know this is kind of a bizarre question when we think about values, right? But just go ahead in kind of bulleted form, real fast, off the top of your head. Think about which people, which things, which actions really drive you nuts, really kind of get under your skin. Why does this question help us figure out values? Because we know that on the other end of what's driving us crazy is something that points us towards a little bit more of who we are and who we want to be. So if clutter and disorganization really makes us go batty, what we know then is that a value of ours might be organization, might be clarity, might be beautiful space. All right. So gives you a sense of that. All right. Number two, what makes you come alive? What are things and people and actions that really put a smile on your face, that really light you up? These sort of things also point you towards values. And lastly, what are two peak experiences from your life? And when I'm talking about peak experience, what I mean are experiences that are really rooted in deep satisfaction. So think over your life and really see if you can remember a time where you felt deeply connected to what you were doing, where you felt a lot of joy, where you felt a deep sense of satisfaction. And it's okay if this is an experience that was maybe from many, many years ago. That's just fine. What we're looking for is dropping down into an experience or two that really helps point you towards what's really important to you, both personally and or professionally. Okay, so kind of look through those answers and pull out any themes for yourself. What do you notice as patterns that are coming up? All right, on the next page, I've got a listing of values, and there are a bunch of values here, but it's certainly not an exhaustive list. So go through here and just notice and maybe put a little star by the ones that really speak to you, the ones that feel extra juicy, really important to you, right? And see if you can circle your top 10. Okay, so next, what I'm going to invite you to do is combine any values that feel connected or that give you a deeper sense of what it is that you're really talking about. So for me, I have a really strong adventure value, but it's not just adventure, it's adventure connected with autonomy that is also connected with freedom, right? So this value for me might be adventure slash freedom slash autonomy. So that to me gives me a more whole picture of what value really lights me up. All right, so combine some of those values. Next, I want you to pop over to page 3 and kind of do some journaling prompts. So as you read back through your top 10 values, ask yourself these 2 questions. Which of the values feel really, really important to you and feel important to how you want to live? And also, what values, which of these 10 things that you've starred really help you to thrive, really give you a sense of deep purpose, deep meaning, deep delight? All right. So now go ahead and star those top 3 to 5 values, maybe circle them. And I know this is tricky. So this is where the combining really helps to whittle down what is at the essence, what's at the core of the values that mean the most to you. All right. So from those 3 to 5, now, what I want you to notice is which of those values are showing up for you personally and professionally, right? So, how fully are you living those values? So, next to those top 3 to 5 values, I want you to rank order on a scale of 1 to 10 how satisfied you are with how these values are showing up for you. So, a 10 would be if you are deeply satisfied, if those values are really, really expressed for you loudly. And a 1 would be more of like a whisper, that that value is so quiet in your life, you can hardly hear it. So rank those values on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being totally satisfied, 1 being really dissatisfied or really, really quiet. Now, be careful here because sometimes it's really easy to place a lot of judgment of like, oh man, my adventure value is so quiet. I can barely hear it. What does that say about me? I'm so far from living the life that I want to live, blah, 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 right? We can get this inner turmoil and this inner dialogue that leads us down a road of shame and regret. That is not how we're framing this up. I offer to you rather than get stuck in what's not working. Instead, look at this ranking um, as as information, something that shows you, okay, I want to turn up the volume of this value in my life. How can I do that? So that brings us to number 4. So pick one value that ranks below an 8. It's a value that isn't as expressed in your life as you would like it to be. And think for a moment, what is one tangible thing you could do to cultivate more of this value in your life? What opportunity is there to live this value more boldly, more loudly, with greater depth, with greater meaning? So reach out to us, both myself and my colleague, Jackie Hansen, who's also a certified health coach. We'd love to support you to really help you get more clarity and traction with living your values in ways that feel meaningful and purposeful so that you can face this pandemic and beyond, living a life and doing work that feels satisfying and helps you to be more resilient in the face of these really challenging days. Thanks so much for watching. Take good care and be well.